Good morning everybody and welcome back to Walking the Blunt Blade. I am Oliver. You know, to be critical of something doesn't mean you hate it. And today we're exploring whether or not Australians are slowly waking up. I choose to live in Australia. I could go pretty much anywhere in the world because I kind of like it. It doesn't mean it's perfect. It's matter of fact far from perfect. But the big question is, are those patriotic Australians that love blowflies and mosquitoes everywhere finally understanding some of the issues in Australia?
Good on you. I've got to ask you, Sam. I feel like welcome to countries, acknowledgement to countries, they're really in the spotlight at the moment. People are now saying, no, enough is enough. You called it a sham just then. Why do you think that?
It's a fraud. It's an absolute nonsense. You have who is welcoming us to what? What country? We are all Australians. We all want to be. We don't want to be divided by this racial lens that people look at our country through, and it is just an absolute bogus. Welcome to country is just a recent invention that's been foisted on us, and it is nonsense. No one's ever. What would you welcome to what country? This country is here because some people arrived in the middle of the 1700s, and when settlement came and built the country what it is. We all want to be part of it, and just people walking around welcoming us to who country. People standing up at sporting functions, mind you, there's people pushing back on it, but people welcoming us who haven't been on the planet half as long as I am, have no idea what they're talking about. It's just exploiting. It's just a way to exploit people, making money out of just lighting fires and dancing, and it's just nonsense.
Sam Newman is certainly not the first person to have said this. I'd like to think I was. And everyone hated me for it, just like people dislike Sam Newman now. But the reality is this: Australia Day is for all Australians. Let's stop living in the past. Who are you welcoming to country? I'm only a permanent resident and I consider this to be my country. Let's stop the nonsense. I resent what Kevin Rudd and his advisors did with the whole sorry thing, and now we're stuck, or it seems we've been stuck, hopefully not for much longer, with this ridiculous welcome to country and acknowledgement. No. And Germany certainly doesn't do that for the Jews or anyone else, or for the Romans. Welcome to Germania.
Is here. Australia's passport is currently the most expensive in the world, followed by Mexico and the USA. There you go, USA $252, New Zealand $193. Why the bloody hell is that? So they upped it 15% in July, and I suspect that was because of the couple years of inflation, so they tried to keep it in line with inflation, and then apparently they indexed it again and it hit $412, and that kind of shocked everyone awake. And what's the excuses that they give? Well, the excuses I gave in the video are literally, I pulled directly from the spokesperson that says, it's a highly respected international document. It's got all this fancy technology in there. Mate, my headphones have more technology in it than this dang piece of paper with a few chips in it, and you're telling me I can get these for half the price than an Australian passport? Come on. So I don't believe you there, but then they pull the card like, oh yeah, passport's just so respected, everyone loves it. And so I had to look it up. There's a website here called the Passport Index, and what it does, it looks at the countries that other countries have access to through different visas. How many countries can you go to for free? How many countries can you just rock up to and get a visa on arrival? And how many countries where you need a specific visa?
Now, I'm glad that someone else is saying it other than me, because it's not new. This guy is spot on. So here's what I found. My German passport I can get for less than the half of the cost of an Australian passport. That was a long time ago. I'm sure it's quarter of the cost now. And it takes half as long to process. Now my German passport gets sent to Germany and comes back, and I have it before most people have their Australian passports. What does that tell you? It just tells you that Australia is completely inefficient, and that we pay more than anyone else for the simplest things in life. Let's keep in mind, a passport is a needed document in most countries, yeah? It's not a luxury. It's a needed document. So, Australia, shame on you. And this is why my kids generally have the option to travel on either or. It's much cheaper and faster to get a German passport. Now, the unfortunate thing is, unless they have both, and that's the next point, is they need a return visa, kind of like me. Well, actually, they don't, because they're classified Australian. I need a return visa, which again can take, last time I checked and applied for a visa, but look at the immigration, Australian, can take up to 3 months to process without excuse, and will cost, last time I paid for it, over $500 for a document that takes 3 months to produce and only lasts half the life of my passport. That's disgusting. And I question immigration, saying, well, what if I have a family member die and I need to go immediately? Well, we can't bend the rules for you, like it takes time. No, it doesn't take time. This is Australian inefficiency at its best. Laziness. Wanting to put everything online, yeah? Don't talk to anyone in person, and definitely don't come and see us. It can all be done online. No, it can't. So again, being highly critical, guys. And I am highly critical, yeah, because I'm living in a country where I'm paying top dollar for nothing to work. Nothing.
Bunch of Australians out there, including us 2.5 years ago before we decided to check out of it, that are basically barely scraping by and don't really have a semblance of quality of life. And the house was in the middle of the suburbs, not near anything. So we needed a car, which is fair enough. There's a lot of Australians are in the same boat. We paid $700 a week for that place. And if you compare that to where we live in Penang, which is a 270 square metre, 4-bedroom, 5-bathroom super condo with a maid's quarters and a second kitchen. It also has half the house overlooking the ocean, and the condo facility also has a massive pool, a slide, a fully equipped gym, and we're paying $180 a week for that. That's one of the aspects I talk about when I say quality of life. In Southeast Asia, we don't have to do that. So that's one example, is accommodation. Another example is just things we can do as a family. So in Southeast Asia, for instance, to go and see a movie is maybe $6 a person, and to buy a large popcorn with that is about $3. I can't remember the last time I've seen a movie in Australia because it was so freaking expensive.
Okay, so, and I've seen many YouTube videos like this one from this guy. I don't know who he is, but he makes valid points. There's a massive exodus of Australians moving to Asian countries, whether it be Thailand, Malaysia, because the simple things in life are just affordable. While I'm talking, I'm going to screenshot my bank statements to show you how much it cost me and my son to go to the movies the other day. I think it was approximately $53. And because I was in a rush and I would never normally do this, I bought him a drink at the movies. I think it was about $9.50. For the experience of 2 people going to the movies, it was an experience of over $60. Not for a special screening, not for a, box office hit that we had to wait in line for. None of that. Just walk in and depart of $60. Oh dear. All right. I'm hoping, because I've been saying this stuff for years, yeah? And by the way, it's cheaper in Sydney to go and watch movies, believe it or not, than Canberra. I hope people are getting the picture. I've had it with people posting Australia's voted the #1 place to live. No, it's not. What it might be, because Canberra itself has been voted the #1 city to live in twice now. But when people post stuff like, because of our lifestyle and luxurious life and quality of life, no, it's not the quality of life. We're a fly-blown country that pays more than anywhere around the world for the simplest things that, by the way, do not work. Welcome to Australia and country. Cheers, everybody.